U.S. approval of the sale of 6 Apache or Viper helicopters on March 30 to the Philippines could close the door to the sale of Turkish ATAK T129 helmets to Manila, Defenseworld reported. In December 2019, Philippine Defense Secretary Lorenzana announced the Philippine Air Force (PAF) had chosen ATAK T129, and with an estimated defense budget of US $250 million. The Philippines could buy up to 10 ATAK units. A memorandum of understanding (MOU) will be carried out later to complete the negotiations. But since then there has been no development that will be approved by the MOU. Announcement: the U.S. Department of State announced the Philippine government had requested to buy 6 Boeing Apache AH-64E helicopters plus weapons, communications and maintenance packages to get US $1.5 billion or 6 Bell AH-1C Viper with more weapons needed at US $450 million. Choosing one of the US-made helicopters has pushed the low defense budget of President Rodrigo Duterte's government. The Philippine national budget for 2020 is 188.6 billion pesos, US $3.6 billion. This happened soon after Manila was proven to make a deal with Russia to buy 17 Mi-171 heavy transport helicopters to buy around US $250 million. The Philippine delegation has issued Moscow and Russian helicopter planes at Ulan-Ude from March 3 to 7 this year, and an agreement is being made, Russian sources said. The possibility of failure to buy Turkey ATAK 129, Advanced Attacks and Tactical Reconnaissance, was approved because of America's export license to sell the LHTC T-804A machines made by Rolls-Royce and Honeywell, which are US-made components there. However, Turkey has not yet agreed to an agreement and is exploring other engine options, including developing itself or with assistance from foreign sources. An agreement to sell 30 helicopters to Pakistan for around US $750. The US has asked the Philippines to buy a helmet for some time now. In November 2019, the Philippine Air Force received 2 Bell A-1 Cobra attack helicopters from the Jordanian government that gave gifts to the Philippines. However, the prize offered has spent most of U.S. weapons purchases by Jordan and for Manila shopping to use and save Bell helicopters. The Bell AH-1F Cobra helicopter used by Jordan came armed with a TOW anti-tank missile, a 70mm Hydra rocket and a 20mm M197 cannon. A generous gift by any standard. The inclusion of Boeing Apache in this agreement failed to consider the Apache package to be 3 times more expensive than the AH-1C Viper, which is not much different in terms of the use of the same weapon. This purchase package can also be purchased in part from the Philippine defense budget. The problem with the Philippine Armed Forces comes from the external and internal lack of air defense systems that are owned by regular troops. So the purchase of an Apache or Viper that can complement can be bought that is expensive, which can burden the Philippines. The Apache helicopter is an American twin-turboshaft attack helicopter with a tailwheel landing gear type and tandem cockpit for 2 crew members. It features a series of sensors mounted on the nose for target acquisition and night vision systems. This weapon is armed with a 30mm M230 to 1.18-inch chain shotgun that is carried between the main landing gear, under the front fuselage, and 4 hardpoints mounted on a stub wing pole to carry weapons and stores, usually a mixture of AGM-114 Hellfire missiles and Hydra 70 rocket pods. Apache has a significant redundancy system to improve combat defense capability. Apache began as a Model 77 developed by Hughes Helicopter for the U.S. Army Advanced Attack Helicopter program to replace the Cobra A-1. The AH-64 prototype was first flown on September 30, 1975. The U.S. Army chose the AH-64 over the Bell AH-63 in 1976, and then approved full production in 1982. After buying Hughes helicopters in 1984, McDonnell Douglas continued AH-64 production and development. The helicopter was introduced to U.S. Army service in April 1986. Sophisticated Apache Longbow AH-64D was sent to the Army in March 1997. Production was continued by Boeing Defense, Space and Security, with more than 2,400 AH-64 produced in 2020. The U.S. Army is the main operator of Apache helicopters. It has also become a major attack helicopter from many countries, including Greece, Japan, Israel, the Netherlands, Singapore and the United Arab Emirates. It has been built under license in the United Kingdom as Augusta Westland Apache. One of the revolutionary features of the Apache was its helmet-mounted display. The Integrated Helmet and Display Sighting System (IHADSS). Among its capabilities, either the pilot or gunner can slave the helicopter's 30mm automatic M230 chain gun to their helmet, making the gun track head movements to point where they look. The M230E1 can be alternatively fixed to a locked forward firing position, or controlled via the Target Acquisition and Designation System (TADS). On more modern Apache, the TADS PNVS has been replaced by Lockheed Martin's Arrowhead MTADS targeting system. U.S. Army engagement training is performed under the Aerial Weapons Scoring System integration with Longbow Apache Tactical Engagement Simulation System (AWSSLBATS), using live 30mm and rocket ammunition as well as simulated Hellfire missiles. The Smart Onboard Data Interface Module (SMODIM) transmits Apache data to an AWSS ground station for gunnery evaluation. The Apache standard of performance for aerial gunnery is to achieve at least one hit for every 30 shots fired at a wheeled vehicle at a range of 800 to 1,200 meters, 870 to 1,310 yards. The Apache was designed to perform in frontline environments, and to operate at night or day and during adverse weather conditions. Various sensors and onboard avionics allows the Apache to perform in these conditions. Such systems include the Target Acquisition and Designation System, Pilot Night Vision System, TADS PNVS, Passive Infrared Countermeasures, GPS, and the IHADSS. Longbow-equipped Apaches can locate up to 256 targets simultaneously within 50 kilometers (31 miles). In August 2012, 24 U.S. Army AH-64Ds were equipped with a Ground Fire Acquisition System (GFAS), which detects and targets ground-based weapons fire sources in all light conditions and with a 120 degrees visual field. The GFAS consists of two sensor pods working with the AH-64's other sensors and a thermographic camera that precisely locates muzzle flashes. In 2014, it was announced that new targeting and surveillance sensors were under development to provide high-resolution color imagery to crews, replacing older low-definition black and white imaging systems. Lockheed received the first contract in January 2016, upgrading the Arrowhead turret to provide higher resolution color imaging with longer ranges and a wider field of view. In 2014, the U.S. Army was adapting its Apaches for increased maritime performance as part of the Pentagon's rebalance to the Pacific. Additional avionics and sensor improvements includes an extended-range radar capable of detecting small ships in littoral environments, software adaptations to handle maritime targets, and adding Link 16 data links for better communications with friendly assets. The Apache is adaptable to numerous different roles within its context as Close Combat Attack (CCA). In addition to the 30mm M230E1 chain gun, the Apache carries a range of external stores and weapons on its stubwing pylons, typically a mixture of AGM-114 Hellfire anti-tank missiles, and Hydra 70 general-purpose unguided 70mm 2.756-inch rockets. An 18-aircraft Apache battalion can carry 288 Hellfire missiles, each capable of destroying a tank. Since 2005, the Hellfire missile is sometimes outfitted with a thermobaric warhead, designated AGM-114N. It is intended for use against ground forces and urban warfare operations. The use of thermobaric, enhanced blast weapons, such as the AGM-114N, has been a point of controversy. In October 2015, the U.S. Army ordered its first batch of Advanced Precision Kill Weapon System (APKWS) guided 70mm rockets for the Apache. Starting in the 1980s, the Stinger and AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles and the AGM-122 sidearm anti-radiation missile were evaluated for use upon the Apache. The Stinger was initially selected. The U.S. Army was also considering the Starstreak air-to-air missile. External fuel tanks can also be carried on the stubwings to increase range and mission time. The stubwing pylons have mounting points for maintenance access. These mountings can also be used to secure personnel externally for emergency transport. Stinger missiles are often used on non-U.S. Apaches, as foreign forces do not have as many air superiority aircraft to control the skies. The Apache initially lacked the ability to use the Stinger to make room for self-defense equipment, but the capability was re-added following a South Korean demand. The Apache is able to control unmanned aerial vehicles (UAVs) used by the U.S. Army to perform aerial scouting missions previously performed by the O-58 Kiowa. Apaches can request to take control of an RQ-7 Shadow or MQ-1C Gray Eagle from ground control stations to safely scout via data link communications. There are 4 levels of UAV interoperability: LOI. LOI-1 indirectly receives payload data. LOI-2 receives payload data through direct communication. LOI-3 deploys the UAV's armaments, and LOI-4 takes over flight control. UAVs can search for enemies and, if equipped with a laser designator, target them for the Apache or other friendly aircraft. Boeing has suggested that the Apache could be fitted with a directed energy weapon. The company has developed a small laser weapon, initially designed to engage small UAVs, that uses a high-resolution telescope to direct a 2 to 10 kilowatts beam with a diameter of a penny out to a range of 5.4 nmi, 10.0 kilometers, 6.2 miles. On the Apache, the laser could be used to destroy enemy communications or radio equipment. On the 26th of June 2017, the Army and Raytheon announced they had successfully completed the first-ever helicopter-based flight demonstration of a high-energy laser system from an Apache. On the 14th of July 2016, it was reported that the AH-64 had successfully completed testing of the MBDA Brimstone anti-armor missile. In January 2020, the U.S. Army announced it was fielding the Spike NLOS missile on AH-64E Apaches as an interim solution to acquire new munitions that provide greater standoff capabilities.